permanently talking about what happens. If we don't share this, actually, chances are that we would have less opportunities to really reflect on what we're doing. That's why collaboration is so much emphasized. And action research is also self-evaluating in that the practitioners reflect on their practice and are engaged in participatory problem solving and also continuous professional development. When we do research, this is by Saber and Skerrit, when we do research actually, one thing that happens is that we learn as teachers, as practitioners, we are learning. We are actually assuming the position of somebody who is studying again. And this is really important. We as teachers cannot stop learning. There is no way we can stop learning. And this is when we find a problem and we define a problem, we have to go to research again. We have to start studying. We have to analyze and read again. And this is actually one of the things that should be a permanent attitude of teachers. Here we have one cycle which is adapted from Chemis and Wilkinson, which is the cyclical process of action research. They say that we normally start by observing a problem or a situation which needs intervention. By intervention I mean, or they mean, well, any kind of thing that we might do to change, promote change, because we've observed that something is not working properly, all right? So, from this observation, we go and plan a change. After planning a change, we act and observe what happens after the change. So again, this is the reflective, self-reflective and evaluating mood, I would say, that I was talking about before. After that, we reflect on the processes and consequences. So there is again reflection. It's not that we do and immediately we implement. It needs a lot of time, right? I mean, not necessarily in terms of chronological time. It depends on how we plan our research, but it needs time in terms of thinking, in terms of reflecting, in terms of we understanding what's going on. Because many times we don't really understand until some time has passed. Or we need to talk with some colleagues or with the students and see why things have happened. After this, we plan further action to improve. So, after all this reflection has taken place, we plan what we're going to do to improve what wasn't working so well. And then the whole thing starts again, right? So when we talk about a cyclical thing, which is very related again to professional development, to reflecting, to self-reflecting, self-evaluating, we're talking about a permanent thing. It's not that we did once and then forget about it. It's actually an attitude. It's a permanent attitude of improvement in the classroom. This is another cycle that is adapted from Macy, 1998, and he actually sees research as first define the inquiry. What is the issue of concern? What is the problem? The teacher realizes that there is a problem in the learning process, or the teacher realizes that she or he is not really getting what she wants, or that students have stopped learning. For example, they were learning very well, and all of a sudden they they're not learning anymore, or not evidently, or well, many other issues they will depend on the context. This is the interesting thing. I mean, I cannot come here and tell you what your issues will be, obviously, because the issues will depend on your context. They will depend on your problems with your students, and they will change from class to class as well. There is a description of the situation, which is actually, and then we have to decide what we're required to do. Okay? What are the steps that are necessary to be taken? For that, we need to collect data and then analyze it. Now, when we collect data, there are different ways. First, we will need to observe. For example, we might very well observe classes. Actually, but if we're doing research in our own classroom, this is not possible. But even so, we can take notes and have a diary in which we actually take notes after the class, for example, and keep a diary, which is very common in action research, of things that have happened in each class. And that will constitute our data for analysis, or part of our data, not all the data. We can decide to interview students, for example. If we decided to, again, talking about motivation, which was one of the pictures that I showed before, if motivation has changed altogether, for example, we might decide to interview students who were highly motivated before and who are not so motivated now, and ask other students as well, so that they are interviewed, and compare their responses. Give them a questionnaire, for example. We can very well plan to give them a questionnaire at the beginning of the semester, and then apply the same questionnaire at the end and compare results. So there are different ways of collecting data that will give or make our research more rigorous. We can not only work out of intuition. That doesn't work. That is not really research. Those are beliefs. And that we're not working with beliefs. We probably start with beliefs, but we have to work with actual data to make statements, to have research questions, and to make this become a proper research that somebody else might replicate afterwards. I may very well read somebody's research and say, oh, this is interesting, I'm going to do the same. But for that, we need a proper procedure, okay? Then we have to review the data and look for contradictions. Many times, even if we interview the same student, over a span of time, they might say different things. And then we have to maybe find ways why, or find another way of collecting more data to ensure that this is reliable. Because many times there are too many contradictions, and then we might say that, well, this is not really so strong. However, we have to say that people change. And students, teachers, people, we change over time. So many contradictions in action research can be explained over a period of time, because probably students, for example, might change because they are growing. So obviously we have to try and find anyway solutions to the problems and answers. But we have to have a clear protocol and framework which actually supports and justify what we do. Okay? Then we tackle the contradictions by introducing changes. Well, this is what I was talking about right now. We need to do something about the contradictions. Okay? We monitor the changes and then we analyze